Hello everyone, this is Austin here bringing you guys a PvZ matchup between Capoch, the red Protoss player at the top left of Entombed Valley, up against Dignitas JohnnyREcco, the blue Zerg at the bottom left. Don't be confused by the INFS before JohnnyREcco's name. He was formerly of Team Infused and then joined Team Dignitas several months ago and was either too lazy to buy a new account or had run out of his name change, or both. Because if he had run out of his name change, chances are he would have to buy a new account, and so if he was too lazy to do one and had lost his name change, then you get my reasoning. Capoch, on the other hand, is, well, JohnnyREcco is a young Zerg player from the United Kingdom. Capoch is from Argentina. So this replay was recommended by GosuGamers, which is why I downloaded it. And GosuGamers is now my #1 source for my replays. I haven't casted a game of Capoch. I know he was active in the WCS South America finals. I'm pretty sure he won his Argentina finals and was able to advance to the finals of his continent. So we'll have to see what he's able to pull out in this game, going for the pylon towards his natural ramp. It is very, very likely he'll go for the Forge Fast Expand that is so prevalent among Protoss players. I've seen JohnnyREcco play. He performed very well at the UK regionals, UK nationals, not regionals, placing 3rd or 4th or something of the sort. And I remember watching him back then. He was playing against a Muslim and was able to take a game off him, if not knock him into the losers bracket. I just remember JohnnyREcco doing well against the Muslim, and he played extremely well in that series. I've seen him in some team leagues as well, and he's just been a generally impressive player to watch, especially considering his age. I'm quite sure he's something like 16 years old, possibly 17 or possibly 15. I honestly have no idea exactly which age he is. I just know he's still in his teens, not an adult yet. Well, in Canada, we consider an adult 18 years old. I'm pretty sure that's the norm for most other areas, but voting age in the States, for example, is it? No, voting age in the States, it's 18, I'm pretty sure, but drinking age is 21. I'm not sure. My ages are off. Don't quote me on any of this, but quote me on the fact that Capoch is getting his natural nexus. He is building a proxy pylon inside his opponent's base, and JohnnyREcco has no idea of this. I'm not sure if he saw the probe enter or not, but unless he's able to position his overlord very well, this could be a huge threat for him and his main. There's a cannon building, so Capoch is going for a Forge Fast Expand with a cannon rush on the side. Very intelligent of him to abuse this little plateau here, and I'm quite sure JohnnyREcco has no idea. This will not end well for him, ladies and gentlemen. Capoch might have a huge advantage in the early stages of this game. He has another cannon building at home, so there's nothing unusual here for JohnnyREcco. Now he doesn't even know there's a pylon on the low ground. This is insane. He has no idea. Now he's finally going to see this probe and will at last see the proxy pylon. But little does he know, this cannon will be able to engage from the high ground here. So JohnnyREcco must be so surprised right now. He had no idea that any of this was on. It was a photon cannon. I thought it was a pylon on the low ground, but rather a photon cannon. So JohnnyREcco going to be at a huge disadvantage if he loses this natural. He's immediately heading over to his 3rd to build a hatchery just to kind of compensate for it, or possibly just to get an early 3rd, or maybe a combination of both. Capoch, meanwhile, playing very standard. He's getting a gateway slightly delayed as a result of these photon cannons, but now this queen is going to be repelled by the cannon. There's not much. I mean, I'm sure JohnnyREcco could spread a creep tumor here and prevent any further cannon. No, he couldn't even, because cannons are detectors. I did forget for a second there, and creep tumors are invisible. So JohnnyREcco may possibly use this naturally. He has 2 spine crawlers, so he may be able to uproot them and then root them, doing so just out of range of the 2nd cannon here, so that but I believe this cannon will still win a fight against the spine crawler, so this is not really going in JohnnyREcco's favor at all. Will he be able to get a transfuse off? Does not have enough energy. Now here is Capoch focusing down the queen. Not able to get a kill on that. Will he be able to? 1 shot away. Now it's going to be close with this spine crawler, but I'm quite sure that the spine crawler will be able to pull out a win. This would be rather close. No, it's going to be able to land it. So Capoch going to lose this cannon on the high ground, but he's continuing his cannon rush here at the in the main base of JohnnyREcco, who has scouted the natural, so he knows this isn't an all-in, but he must be flipping out here, trying to hold this off. He hasn't lost too much in terms of drones, but mining time in his natural definitely has been delayed. He's forced to transfer the majority of his workers that would otherwise be mining in his natural expansion to his third, so it's not too huge a nuisance. Capoch has invested a reasonable number of minerals into this assault, and it seems as though they further building will be repelled by creep, but this will be a reasonable nuisance to JohnnyREcco for the time being. I have to see if Capoch decides to build another pylon, because these 3 cannons are very vulnerable to being depowered. If any Zerg unit focuses down the pylon, then all 3 of these cannons are rendered useless. It's definitely worth the sacrifice, and it seems as though JohnnyREcco is building 4 roaches, which would be a rather ideal number to take down this pylon. Then again, these 3 cannons doing 20 damage each would likely shred those roaches before they'd be able to do any significant damage. This sentry tickling away at the rocks. The gateway building another sentry for emergency reasons. Capoch just wants to make sure he's safe against any sort of wing counterattacks. No metabolic boost yet for JohnnyREcco, so that's another example of a delay that has befallen him. Capoch getting his robo facility. He's got his warp gate about halfway there, so we can't forget the fact that our Argentinian Protoss player will be able to warp in units should this pylon survive. It seems as though this little entrenchment of Capoch will shortly die to these roaches of JohnnyREcco. He's pulling them back to avoid losing any of them. So now finally this mini cannon rush has been repelled, but at a great cost economically to JohnnyREcco. He's finally able to destroy the last pylon and the probe along with it. But the fact that he wasn't able to see it, very, very intelligent play there from Capoch, because of that little ridge right here. I find it's harder to scout when you're spawning at the bottom left. It's harder to scout that little extension area. If you see up here, the extension is still there, but it's a lot less detached, I find. I find it's although the spawning locations are quite similar, I just find personally I would be less likely to scout any pylons should I be spawning in the position that JohnnyREcco is spawning, who he's now destroying the rocks between his natural and third, getting his metabolic boost about time. That aforementioned upgrade is halfway done. He's getting 5 overlords at a time, just prepping up for a massive number of roaches. But Capoch, on the other hand, getting his Twilight Council, his one... Is that his 1 weapons? Yes, 1 weapons. He won't be able to get 2 weapons without his Twilight Council. His 1 weapon shortly about to finish. He's got 2 Immortals, 2 Sentries on the field. 4 Sentries. My bad, I did not see the remaining 2. There they were, right behind the mineral line. Likely to kill the Overlord of JohnnyREcco. So the door is wide open for Capoch to head out for a Sentry Immortal all-in before JohnnyREcco's able to get his infestation pit up and a reasonable number of infestors out, because we have to take into account the fact that pathogen glands will have to be researched. That's additional time that's going to delay JohnnyREcco's ability to get infestors out. We've seen Starchill parting from Korea, able to dominate Zergs and keep an insane win rate using these Sentry Immortal heavy timing pushes, well, almost entirely Sentry Immortal. Capoch is chronoing out his 2 weapons, so it will take quite a little while before he's able to push out with 2-0. So it seems to me as though he is waiting and going to invest in a War Prism to deal some economical damage to his opponent while he turtles up and builds this Sentry Immortal army. He will be moving out with his 2 weapons halfway done. He continues to chrono in. He's getting several Stalkers. He just finished warping in several Stalkers. He has a fairly high number. That's a total of 11. Just kills a scouting wing there. Was that a wing? Was that a drone? I'm not sure for sure. Surprised he's not getting Blink quite yet. He does have the resources for it. 150, 150. Now, it seems as though JohnnyREcco is heading up for a counterattack. And nice warp in there from Capoch. He puts that guy on hold position, and no wings are getting in. He also has a good wall off at his third. We'll have to see how much damage he's able to do. How well will he be at the force field? Not too well there, Capoch. 3 force fields blocking virtually nothing. Pathogen glands close to finishing, and these 4 infestors on the way. Fungals will deal devastating damage to the Sentry Immortal composition, definitely weakening these sentries who only have something like 40 and 40 health. That low. 2 Fungals chained together would be able to kill all these sentries to my knowledge. I'm not sure the exact amount of damage Fungal does, something like 60 or possibly even 40. I know that 2 fungals will be required to kill a marine. I'll just check this one of these infestors real quick, if any of them are anywhere. There are 3 zealots heading in here from the warp prism of Capoch, and I'm trying to find an infestor, but we will instead cover our engage over here. The roach is dealing quite well with those zealots, and fungal growth does 30 damage, 40 versus armored. So the sentry is considered light mechanical psionic. They would die in 3 fungals, so not as strong as I otherwise noted. But we'll have to see how strong Capoch's force fields are. Will he be able to pull this one off? And I'm able to close the menu there. It seems as though JohnnyREcco is going to lose this one as a result of the reinforcements of Capoch. Getting some great warpings there using the warp prism. No fungals on it from JohnnyREcco. His infestors were forced back and or killed before they were able to take it down. Should have killed it when it was sitting here in his natural location. Now Capoch looking very strong here. He's forced his opponent to make 16 wings. Doesn't really have that high a roach count. He does have a total of 14, and he's shortly going to have 21. But we'll have to see if that's enough. There are 6 immortals on the field with 2-0. This timing has proven deadly here for Capoch. Can he force field well? Not able to trap any of the roaches outside of their natural location. Now, Capoch should not want to attack up this ramp, but he seems to do so anyway. The roach is doing great damage to his immortals. He still does have all 6, producing another back and home, getting his 3 weapons. If that's able to finish, that could be completely game-ending there for Capoch. This War Prism slightly isolated, not going to die there. No blink researching here from, now finally starting from Capoch. He cut me off, he started to research it. No roach speed from JohnnyREcco. That's quite surprising. He's only about 2/3 of the way done. Here is this Warp Prism going to warp in some more Stalkers. It seems as though Capoch may be forced back. He only has Immortals left. He does not want to lose these. Not going to be able to pick them up in the Warp Prism, it seems, ladies and gentlemen, as though JohnnyREcco going to be able to force his opponent back. All 4 of these Immortals, 5 of them now, with one of them reinforcement, going to be too strong, but no! The Capoch's sheer firepower, 60 damage versus armored, has overcome JohnnyREcco. This is an incredibly tense game, and with 6 more Stalkers just finishing warping in there, I'm now ready to call it for Capoch, and now JohnnyREcco getting good fungals off. These Immortals are all in relatively high health, but their shields have been depleted. The Roach is not able to quite DPS them down. Drones just trying to push all the warriors into battle. Like, come on, we don't want to have to fight. There are 9 Roaches producing at a time, but it seems as though Capoch gained a supply advantage, and JohnnyREcco says, effing scrub, he is going to drop some BM here. And very, very well played there from Capoch. 1 Immortal does die at the end there, but he was able to keep a great ratio of units lost, depriving his opponent of 16,400 resources compared to his 10,800. I see why JohnnyREcco would BM for the whole cannon rush, but it was not really an all-in. It was just an intelligent play from Capoch. I am not necessarily a fan of cheese, but in some situations I am, like in this one. It was witty play. He just took advantage of his opponent's lack of vision, gained himself an advantage, and won with a nice push off of it. It wasn't solely because of the Photon Cannon Rush that he won. But I hope you enjoyed this game, guys. I sure did. Catch you next time. Goodbye.